Hey, everybody, and welcome to a very special podcast. This podcast is making the announcement and our first look at Sprytech being subbed out to Big Tree Solutions. So, as you've probably just found out today, it's not to Big Tree, and Big Tree is going to become the software used by Doorstep Delivery, and I am just so pumped, and I really think you're going to be pumped as well. On this call, I've got Matt Hanley with Big Tree with me, and the goal here is going to be to review some of the most exciting features. This is by no means a training call. There's going to be plenty of training to do, but this is a little bit of a first look just to show you what you're going to be walking into and really hopefully get you excited. I wanted to first start by just giving a little background on me personally, my interaction with Big Tree, and just my respect that I have for the product and my understanding. When we were first starting Sprytech 4 years ago, it was originally intended to be a competitor of Big Tree's and potentially sold to other services in the industry. And at that time, I was studying all the different softwares out there, and it was clear that Big Tree was without a doubt the best. And so because of that, I never made a push for any Big Tree clients because I knew they would not be leaving. And whenever I ran into a situation where someone was interested in software and maybe they were in the same market as one of our doorsteps, I always recommended them to Big Tree. What I loved about Big Tree was that it was just a really solid software, has a ton of details that is going to make our lives really easy, and they just have a great system of support. Tons of training videos, a real vibrant community between the companies that use the service, and just a lot of support. And so Big Tree has been on my radar for quite a long time. Fast forwarding to last September when we completed the transfer and got full control of Sprytech. A little bit after that, we began talking to Big Tree again because, again, I think everybody knows that it was maybe time to start looking at other options for software and getting us onto solid ground. For me personally, not working for the software full-time and really being able to focus on the operations and growing our company more was definitely something I wanted to do. So we spoke to Matt and all the guys at Big Tree probably around December, and at that point it wasn't quite the right time. But over the last month, we've really been talking more and more, and I think the one thing that really just totally nailed it was just the synergy of what our companies were doing. In terms of, I would get on the phone with Matt and he would say, hey, I'm working on this, this, and this. And I would say, I'm working on those three things at the same time. And then we would show each other what we're working on. And basically every time, Matt, you were a few steps ahead of us. And so with that, I do want to fully introduce Matt Hanley onto the phone. Hey, Matt.
Hey guys, how you doing? Nice to meet you all today.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Matt, again, I want to just give a brief background on you. How long have you been in the industry?
I've been involved with restaurant delivery services for about 6, 7 years now. Was a operator for a while, ran some call centers, and now working with Big Tree Solutions.
I have heard it said before that you are Big Tree's version of Chris Barnes, and you may not know that, but I consider that a compliment. But the reason I say that, guys, is that this is one of the selling points of Big Tree, is that we're going to have a lot of training and a lot of work to get this launch done. But Matt is an absolute pro, and he's going to be a great resource for us. And Matt, I really appreciate the time you're taking right now to help create this video with me.
Yeah, happy to help.
So we're looking at your screen now, and I wanted to go back to that conversation that we had when we first started realizing that we were working on all the same things. And specifically, I, at that time, was showing you some updates that we were making to driver login, like our driver management system. And we even just this week had some announcements. We were also talking about things we were doing to help mapping and tracking of the drivers. And what I love about you guys is, unlike working with a third party like 86 Borders, and unlike having the driver login via website, you guys have a full driver app with back-end mapping. Is that correct?
So that's right. We have a driver app that the drivers will download from either the Google Play Store or the Apple iTunes Store. It works on any device that they want to download it on as far as the cellular device goes. essentially what this allows you to do is assign the drivers the orders from the dispatch screen, and they'll receive a push notification that they've received an order. They're able to open that order in their app on their phone, and then go ahead and process that order as far as marking it as confirmed and arrive at the restaurant and route to the customer. There's built-in navigation as well. So you click to the restaurant, it'll navigate you there. Click to the customer, it'll navigate you there, as well as quick links to have the call the customer, call the restaurant, or call back to dispatch as well. Chris, one feature that I want to mention that we have added recently to this is the ability for the customer to add a tip and their signature at the door on the app.
Awesome. That's the feature that we launched just 2 days ago. And so again, it's just funny when we're working on the same things. Also, so with you guys having your, I'm going to call it driver login because that's our terminology, but with your driver login being a native app as opposed to ours that's a website, basically the mapping component is already built in. So the drivers don't need to do anything extra and you're able to actually watch them on your back end?
That's right. So when the drivers are using the app, I'm going to go ahead and just pull up a dispatch board here real quick. So either from the dispatch screen or from the admin dashboard back here that we have, so we can actually currently see, we have orders moving all around, en route to customers, waiting to be placed at restaurants, waiting to be reviewed, drivers at restaurants, so forth and so on. So I can actually go ahead and just click this button right up here, Map, this Smart Map, and this is going to populate this screen here in just a moment, and it's going to show me my drivers that are en route. These correlate to the colors that are on our dispatch screen. Drivers that are at restaurants, and if I go ahead and just push this button real quick, it's going to show me all the runs that need to happen. So we can actually watch these drivers move around this map in real time and assign drivers to orders based off their distance from the restaurants as well.
Okay, great. And one thing that I'm just going to just warn everybody is, first of all, I don't know how fast my internet's going, so for me this video might be a little choppy. But on top of that, when I first looked at this mapping, it was very overwhelming because it was just my first time seeing it. But we have a company in our family, $2 Delivery, who is already on BigTree, and they absolutely love this mapping. And they've got a monitor dedicated just to it that they keep open the entire shift. And I think it's, again, one of these things that once you actually are playing with it, it'll all make sense to you. So if you're looking at it now and saying, oh my God, I don't even know what I'm looking at, it'll make sense. And one thing that we're not going to look at on this call, but that we're going to do a lot of training on, is that the dispatch page is different, and different is scary. But again, it's just one of these things that once we get everybody trained, there's really just so many pluses to your system that it's going to really be great for everyone. But Matt, thanks for showing that. Can we also touch on the restaurant portion? We've been looking at ways to have like a restaurant login, also doing things like working with Eat-A-Bit printers. But I think you guys took it one step further in that your restaurant interaction is also a true native app.
That's right. So right now we're in our first incarnation of what we call the Order Logic app. Now this app is an app that's downloaded by the restaurant, and this allows you to send orders to this restaurant, and they can receive it in the app through this system. What it'll do is it'll notify them via a nice annoying loud noise that they've received the order, and they can accept the order, marking it as placed on your dispatch screen, so you don't have to call them, fax them, anything like that. They received the order, and they can actually also update the pickup time through this app as well. We are gearing up to release the second incarnation of this, and it's a lot better than the current version. It should be out in the next couple of weeks here. This one will have the option, if you want to, the restaurant will be able to edit their menus through this system as well. So that would maybe also free up some of your time as far as allowing your restaurants to make the updates instead of having them send in the updates to you guys to update on your end.
Okay, great. And with it being a native app, are you finding that restaurants' employees are buying tablets, putting it on their computer, or are a lot of people just even putting it on cell phones?
Sure. So a lot of folks are just putting it on cell phones. It's something that a GM or an expo might just put on their cell phone. But if you are working with a different operation, then maybe a tablet is right. A lot of the services that I see that are on our platform are definitely buying a bunch of tablets and putting them out there in the restaurants. Some of them are funneling that into the actual marketing fee as well. Sorry about that. I had a couple pop-ups there. But yeah, so it's definitely something we've seen a great adaptation rate with the restaurants right now. They seem to really love it.
Okay, great. And with the restaurants as well, I know that there's certain people who are watching this video who may say, "Hey, I just got linked up with Eatabit. I'm buying my first printers now. Are they no good?" Have you guys had any interaction with Eatabit?
Sure, I'm glad you asked that. So we're actually just wrapping up the integration with Eatabit right now. We should be able to be fully operational on that platform here within the next 30 days or so.
Okay, great. So if anybody out there already bought Eatabit and is getting used to it as we speak, they'll be able to continue to use it after we make the switch. Okay, great. I just want to touch again on some of these features that are pain points for me and for the people watching this video. And I don't know if anything is more of a pain point than group orders. So that's going to be a big question, Matt. Can we take a look at what you guys have for group orders?
Sure. So what we have right now, guys, is the clients will go ahead and the customers will come in, log into their account. They'll be able to click on a little button in their account called Office Orders or Group Ordering.
Matt, are you have you moved that on your screen? I think I'm a little behind you.
I have. I do have that displaying right now. Let's see, maybe it'll catch up here in just a moment. Okay. Just try giving it a nice refresh here.
Great. Yeah, I think we're getting there, and I see Office Orders.
That's right. That's right. So at this point in time, the screen that I'm on right now, I've logged into my account, and over on the left-hand side, we'll see different options that I have present to me once I log into my account. Here will be one called Office Orders. Are you able to see that at this time?
Yep.
Beautiful. So we'll actually see that I have a current one that is pending right now that was for the past. It just never got put in, it looks like. So I can show you here what we can do is we can create a group. So maybe I have my office group, or maybe I have my family here, and I just send them all group order notifications, or perhaps it's for my office as well. I can go ahead and have my office group here. You see it has 3 members. I'll go ahead and start the order with those 3 members. So we can add or delete members or omit members of this group from this order. But I'll go ahead and just send these out. And what you'll do here is you can go ahead and select the delivery address. You can select the time that you want the food delivered and when the orders must be placed by, so the deadline for the participants. And you can schedule the invitations to be sent out at a certain time or sent out immediately. So it looks like I selected an address that doesn't have any availability to it. Let me go ahead and see if I can grab one for us that'll give us something.
Well, and while you're doing that, I just want to touch that I think your system has much more transparency than ours. And so in our system, there's a true dashboard where they can see who's ordered, who hasn't, and has more control. And they have the ability, I would say, to set up more orders in the future. Like, do you agree with that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, here in our system, this is an ASAP order, I guess, for right now, as soon as possible group order. But yeah, we can go ahead and look at what it would be like, scheduling in the future. Maybe for an order on Monday, we would want the orders to be everyone to have placed their orders by 1:30 p.m. on Sundays to make sure we have enough time to get that to the restaurant still. And this again will be customer facing here. This would be the customer doing this, the end user. So they would select when they want it. They can say what restaurant. So now we know where they want the food delivered to, how many people roughly are going to be eating. We know when they want it delivered, so we can say which restaurants are available. So we'll go ahead and select just this restaurant here. At this point in time, you have the option to decide, how you're going to pay. So you can say, I'm going to pay for everybody. Everyone's going to pay for themselves, or I will set a budget. You can set a budget, let's say, for $10 a person, and add a driver gratuity, save that payment. If they have payment settings, and at this point in time, I would have to add a credit card to go ahead and check out. But after we actually have an order out there, so if we remember I had an order that was actually currently pending, I'm going to go ahead and just jump back into my account and I'll look at that one. So if I go back to office orders, you'll see I have, this one, it's probably just manage hunting for the same reason. So yeah, but after I actually were to submit the test order or the group order, I have the ability to look at the status page, and I can see who has ordered, who hasn't ordered, if people have viewed their invitation or not. I can send them a link to go ahead and be invited back. So you can see on this page here kind of as well, current members of the group, have they been invited? Yes. The status is pending. They have added 0 items. You can see kind of a breakdown here of the order and who has done what. You can also just add somebody to the order on the fly, which is oftentimes needed in this this feature as well.
Okay, great. Well, that is very exciting. I know another pain point that I get often is just getting our drivers tips. And for us, we don't have any type of required tip in our software. Do you guys have any ability to do that?
So we do. I'll go ahead and just jump into this system here real quick and walk you through that. Essentially, what we have set up in our system is the ability to, on a market, so in a particular market or in a branch. So we have, for example, Chicago, Dallas, St. Louis, 3 different cities, 3 different markets, 3 branches. I'm going to St. Louis, and you can see here that I've set a minimum gratuity of 15% for this market. That's going to be a minimum gratuity of 15%. It looks like I have it set up here on all orders that are over $100. The lowest that the gratuity can be is $15, and the highest it can be is going to be $30. So we call this the floor and the ceiling, and the minimum gratuity is set at 15%, and you can have a minimum gratuity over amount as well. Now, a situation that you might see pretty frequently, and a number of our clients do have this setting where 15% minimum gratuity over for all orders. The lowest it can be is $2, and the highest it can be is $30. You can also suggest that they get 20%. And that's our setup on the actual location. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. So we're looking at right now the master account. So that's amazing. That's already obviously much more than we have. And then, am I correct that you still have the ability to make different definitions based on a single delivery zone or even a single customer?
That's right. So what we can do next is actually in a particular restaurant. So I'll go to a restaurant in St. Louis, keeping in mind my current settings that I just put on for that entire city. Let's go to this, this pizza restaurant here, and I'm going to go into the actual managed delivery fees area. So in this particular setup that I have right here, you'll see that I have it set up to be able to be delivered to the rest of the city. So this particular market I have split into 2 main zones. That's downtown and the rest of the city. So you'll see now I actually have it set up where I can get it delivered to downtown and to the rest of the city. Maybe downtown, I want it just the way it normally is, the 15% gratuity on all orders over $0 with the floor of 2 and the max of 30. But I can override it on this. So maybe for this zone, for the catering zone, for this restaurant, I want 20% minimum tip on all orders for this particular zone for this particular restaurant. So that's one more restaurant-specific, zone-specific per restaurant. I can also go into a user's account.
I'm going to cut you off right there just because it's funny. There's so many little things in every page you show that are exciting. So like that one there, people are probably seeing that you could have different delivery fees for breakfast compared to lunch compared to dinner. You could have different lead times like associated with it. Like even things like that are so new to us that I get excited just even seeing that.
Sure, yeah, and I just had to navigate back to that page here. I do have it back up now, but yeah, it's really quite intricate, everything we can do. And, I know I've talked to Chris a fair amount about the delivery structures and how we can handle the polygons and the tiers and setting things up, really the way you guys need them. We're definitely confident we can accomplish that with you.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to cut you off there just to keep things moving, but the big key is we can definitely do tipping on a whole different variety, a ton of different parameters, so that's awesome. One other thing, just to kind of touch on it, that I've always loved about BigTree is that you guys just have great reporting. And I don't really want to go too deep into all the reports you have because that's kind of like a call in its own right. But do you mind showing the report, the creator module?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. real quick, we do have a ton of built-in reporting, pre-built, ready to rumble. You just do the business, and then you can look at the reports that we've built in. A lot of good stuff. If you can't find what you need in there, you're going to be able to build your own reports here using what we call the report generator. I'm going to go ahead and just click on this. Now, to get started, we have a few different options here that we can start to pull from. I'm going to go ahead and click on order information. And hopefully this time, Chris, I just want to double check on your screen. Can you see this right now?
That's just what I was about to say. It's loading right now. So give me that. I think just there we go.
Beautiful, beautiful. So right now, guys, just to make sure you saw, what I've done is clicked on this order information up here, and what that's done is given me these options, which you can probably see are just yellow bricks here. What I can do is drop these bricks down into the selected report column area and build a report that I would like to build. I'm going to kind of zoom in here a little bit so you can see kind of what's written on these boxes. I might want to go ahead and look at something that, I'm going to pull the order number in. Got to zoom back out so I can drop those in there, but I'm going to pop the order number. I can get it to. I'll just refresh real quick. I think the zooming in and the zooming out kind of gave it a problem there. So there we go. I'm going to drop the order number in. I can pull subtotal in, look at the tax. Maybe I can look at tax exempt, yes or no. So real quick, if I just wanted to see all of the orders that have been tax exempt, I can drag tax exempt over to filters, click on filters, and say tax exempt is equal to yes. Let's see if we have any. We don't have any. Maybe try yes like that. Nope. So there is no tax exempt orders in the system at this time, you can tell. That's just a quick example of what you can do in the system, but it's quite limitless. So after you build a report, you can actually export it very easily to Excel. And of course, from Excel, you can also accomplish really anything in there as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I call it, you just got a bunch of puzzle pieces and you can just build whatever you need, and you don't even have to export it. It's right there, but you can export it if you want it. So that is just really awesome. The last thing that I would touch on, and this is really maybe the most major part of all, but we will be moving over from a system where there's 19 front ends right now to one front end for all. It would still be 19 different back ends, but we would have one front end that the customer points to. This is really exciting in a lot of ways, but I would say really the biggest part is the SEO that comes with it, that instead of us having to promote 19 different front ends, we can just really focus on the one, and that's going to be amazingly powerful. And this, again, going back to our conversations over the past month or so, when I found out that you recently converted Mr. Delivery, which Mr. Delivery is a competitor but friend of ours who's a very similar model, franchise model with a lot of different franchises all over, and they had their own software and they had independent front ends for all. And with coming over to BigTree, converted over to the one front end model, I love that you guys have been there and done that. I mean, you just got finished with that, and so it just helps so much that that we're not, adding something new to your plate. But with that said, the front end is going to be amazing for SEO. But is there anything else you can show us in terms of SEO?
Sure. Yeah, I would love to kind of show you what we have here, just on a real basic level. Again, don't want to get too in depth. We'll definitely get our time in on training later as well. Here, guys, we have on a per market level, you have the ability to put an SEO name and drop some SEO qualities into this area. We've also defined the ability to go into the restaurants. I'm not sure. Hopefully this is loading at the same speed I'm showing it here. But I can just drop in and see the SEO for the particular restaurants as well, just as a lot to promote your guys' ranking on all of the searching platforms, Google, Yahoo, Bing, everything. We also then have, outside of that, actually an SEO manager here, where you can click on the SEO button, and any of the pages that exist on your site, you're able to edit the SEO on that as well. So while we do say that none of us are SEO experts, we definitely have a ton of tools in the system to help you excel in that on your end.
I love it. And Matt, really, I mean, this call could go 2 hours, but I don't want it to. I'm going to try to wrap it up now because I think this happens every time. I said from the beginning, let's try to go 10 minutes. I think we're at probably 25 right now. But let's just wrap it up by saying that we're going to be hearing from you a lot more. People are going to be hearing from me a lot more. There's going to be a ton of training to do to get this done, and we need to really have strong communication between all the doorstep branches and be as efficient as possible. But I think you've given everybody just a really nice introduction that we have some work to do, but it's going to be very well worth it when all is said and done. Really quick on this front end, before anybody freaks out, this is not the new front end. This was something that Matt and his team put together just as a sample for now. But there will be a whole new look coming along with this. It's going to be, again, a big project, but I think just an amazing one. And when all is said and done, we're going to have new software with a great support team, tons of better and stronger features, and a Chris Barnes who is free to really focus on growing this brand, not worrying about every single bug that comes through.
So yeah, Matt, Chris, it's been a pleasure. Always a pleasure speaking with you and anyone on your team. Definitely look forward to getting you guys all trained up in the near future. Definitely we'll be doing a lot of group meetings and one-on-ones with the branches, and look forward to getting you guys trained up and live on our software.
Great. Thanks, Matt.